What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, baby. I'm back. I'm back. Now sit on down. What's going on, man? I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. On this channel, I talk about fragrances as well as fashion. So I'll have my guys out there looking good and smelling great, man. And I love when I get the feedback and interact with you guys and you telling me how you crushing it out there, you know, with your fragrances, smelling good and looking good and stealing all the ladies. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's how we rock. I'm just kidding, man. So look, man, if you like fragrance and fashion related content and this is the channel for you, I invite you to go ahead and click the subscribe button and also make sure you hit the bell icon as well to ensure you get notified when I upload new content on the channel. So guys, you see the title of today's video, man. It's about that time, man. It is about the time for the fall season. It's about to start getting cool outside and I love it. This is my favorite time of the year. My birthday happens during the fall, and not to mention, man, it's football season. I love the fall, man. Football, fragrances, fashion, menswear. Life can't get any better for me. So I love this time of year, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop my top 10 fall niche fragrances. I'm gonna do the niche list first this year, and then we will follow up with this list. Next week, we'll do the fall designer list. We'll go ahead and get that out there. But man, listen, that's what we're going to be talking about today, fall fragrances. And I just want to say really quickly, in addition to that, my style tip of the day is when it gets this time of year, you're talking about fall and winter, where you change up the type fragrances that you wear during the fall and winter. You move to things that are more cozy and more warm. It's the same thing with your clothing. So the style tip of the day is when the seasons start to change and it starts to get cooler outside, you also, just like transitioning your fragrances, you want to start to transition your wardrobe as well. And if you're going to be wearing suits, blazers, and things of that nature, ties, then one thing that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to is when it starts to get cold outside, you want to start to mix in heavier fabrics. Things like tweed, or like this suit that I'm wearing today, this beautiful kind of chocolate flannel suit from Spear & Mackay. You want to start to look at mixing in some heavier wool fabrics because the heavier wool is going to help to keep you warm when it's cold outside. And in addition to the suits that you wear, also your ties. I mean, this tie is a little bit heavier silk material called Ancient Matter. So it's a little bit heavier than the typical silk tie. So those are just some things to keep in mind as we transition from the warmer temperatures outside to it get a little bit cooler. Make sure that you are changing your fabric, so at least mixing in some of the heavier wool fabrics as you transition to colder temperatures. All right, guys, so now that we've gotten the style tip out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the top 10 niche fragrances that your boy's gonna be rocking in the fall season, this upcoming fall. So if you wanna see what made my list this year, you know how we rock, man. Keep it locked right here. I'll take your love from me. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump right into the list. I do have two honorable mentions that I want to bring to your attention really quickly. The first one is from Michael Malone London. This is called Jet Black Reserve. Man, this is a good one to wear. And the reason I made it an honorable mention and not in my top 10 is just because it's a little bit more of a versatile kind of year-round scent. But man, this kind of scent profile works really, well in the fall season. It's got that freshness that I like to talk about when it opens up and then it starts to dry down with some really, really nice, warm and cozy notes. So check this one out from Michael Malone London. It's called Jet Black Reserve. And of course, moving forward, I'm not going to be that guy. But man, listen, if you don't have Obad in your collection, this is the perfect fragrance to wear in the fall season. I'm just not going to be that guy and put my fragrances on my top 10 list all the time, but I definitely would be remiss if I did not mention it. Obad is a kind of the same thing I talked about in a sense with the previous fragrance that I mentioned, Jet Black Reserve. It just gives you that nice, fresh opening, but the dry down, man, the toffee, the almond, the cinnamon in this thing is absolutely gorgeous. And the fall season, this is perfect to have in your repertoire in the fall, man. So definitely check out my joint, man, that I did with Novelties Parfums. If you don't have Obad in your collection, what are you waiting for? Make sure you grab this while the getting is still good. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into the actual top 10. The first one up on my fall niche fragrance list this year comes from the house of Roja Dove, and this one is called Enigma by Roja Dove. And this is the Parfum Cologne version of this fragrance. Man, listen, I don't even have to really talk about this one a whole lot, but this is such an amazing boozy scent. And when you talk about this fragrance, you talk about the original version of this fragrance, which I think is perfect for the winter. This is the perfect pairing with that for the fall because it's a little bit lighter, a little bit fresher than the original, but man, this stuff is absolutely fantastic. You talk about tobacco, cognac, vanilla, benzoin, the perfect fragrance to wear when it's starting to get cool outside, man. So if you don't have this in your collection, man, this is one I highly recommend. Again, I prefer this version of this fragrance over the original for the fall. So check it out from the house of Roja Dove. This is Enigma Parfum Cologne. And guys, as I always mention, man, listen, I know that niche fragrances are more expensive and some people just don't want to spend that kind of money on fragrances, I understand. So I always recommend check out Scent Split. All of the fragrances that I have on my top 10 fall list today, you can actually find all of these fragrances at scentsplit.com. And you can get anywhere from a 2 to up to a 9 ml sample of any of these fragrances. And honestly, if you have quite a few fragrances in your collection, 5 to 10 ml will last you a long time. It'll last you quite a while. Definitely will get you through the fall and winter season. So check these fragrances out at scentsplit.com if you see anything on this list that you like. And of course, click on my link because you'll be able to get a discount on any of the fragrances that you see on this list. All right, guys, the next fragrance on my top 10 fall niche list this year comes from the house of Fragrance Du Bois, and this one is called Santal Complete. Santal Complete, and I love this fragrance because this one really can be good for any of the transitional seasons. I mean, spring, fall, perfect for that time of year. It has that nice coconut opening that I talked about when I reviewed this fragrance, but I love when it gets into the dry down, man, and that sandalwood comes in there. It's a beautiful scent, and the sandalwood in this one is really, really cozy. And again, when I think about fall fragrances, I think about fragrances that are really, really nice and cozy, and that's exactly what this fragrance is. So check this one out. I love this fragrance from the house of Fragrance Du Bois. Again, this one is called Santal Complete. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, this is the 8th spot on my top 10 fall list this year from the house of Atelier des Ors. This one is called Lune Feline. Lune Feline. And if you love a nice vanilla fragrance, this is one that you have to really get your nose on. It's really like this really smoky vanilla fragrance. And then again, and like I said before, when you think about fall, you think about cozy, you think about smokiness, you think about warm, think about fragrances like by the fireplace. This will kind of put you in the mindset of a by the fireplace on the niche side of things. You have a beautiful, as I said, vanilla. It opens up with some nice spices, cardamom, cinnamon is in this as well, and then it starts to dry down to this nice, really smoky, woody dry down with a beautiful vanilla base. Man, this is an absolutely gorgeous fragrance. And like I always say when I talk about fragrances from Atelier des Ors, I love those golden flakes on the inside, if you guys can see that. Just a gorgeous fragrance, man. If you've never put your nose on it, again, get a sample, check it out. If you like vanilla fragrances, I think you'll like this one from the house of Atelier des Ors. This is called Lune Feline. All right, now coming in at the 7th spot this year Chose a fragrance from the house of Frederic Malle. And guys, when I talk about this fragrance, I really just can't say enough good things about this scent. This one is called French Lover. French Lover. And this is just a very spicy, green, woodsy, gentleman kind of fragrance. This is very gentlemanly, and it's just really, really sexy, man. Seriously, this is one in the wintertime, man. Like if you love a nice, spicy, woody scent that's really masculine, has a slight kind of fougere, gentlemanly kind of quality to it, man, you gotta check this fragrance out. This is definitely tuxedo approved for the fall season. Again, but just one of those fragrances really when you want to stand out. The only fragrance that I know of that this kind of reminds me of is Spice and Wood by Creed, but honestly, this one does it a little bit better. This one does it a little bit better. So check this one out, again, from the house of Frederic Malle. This is called French Lover. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list probably would have been one of my top 5 fragrances of all time if it had not been for the performance. I will say the performance is not great on this fragrance, but it smells so freaking awesome that I still really enjoy wearing it, and it's perfect for the fall season. From the house of Fragance. This is called 1270. 1270. I mean, outside of the performance, again, there's nothing not to like about this fragrance, especially when you start talking about the fall season. It has pineapple, hazelnut, coffee, dried fruits. This thing is just absolutely gorgeous. Cacao. The only problem with it, again, is it only lasts about 3 to the max 4 hours on my skin, but it smells so good. I don't mind taking this with me and reapplying halfway through the day, but it smells great. And again, it is perfect for the fall season. So check it out. Again, you can sample it and see if you like it as much as I do. But this one comes from the house of Fragance, and it's called 1270. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list this year comes from the house of Allure, and this one is called Imitation Man. And my goodness, the more I wear this fragrance, the more I absolutely start to adore this one. This is such a beautiful, unique take on the note of rose. And I guarantee you, this does not smell like any other rose fragrance that you've ever put your nose on before in your life. It's a nice Turkish rose. It has castoreum in it. And the other main primary note in this would be leather. So it's really, really nice and warm and smooth, a smooth, leathery, kind of powdery vibe with a nice rose. And again, I can't say enough good things about this fragrance. I love the bottle. I love the fragrance. And this kind of rose fragrance that has the dry down that it has with that nice leather castoreum, labdanum kind of dry down is gorgeous in the fall season. So check this one out, man. If you like rose, this is something I think you need to put your nose on because it's definitely unlike any other rose you've ever smelled. From the house of Allure, this is called Imitation Man. All right, coming in at the 4th spot this year, this fragrance comes from the house of Givenchy, and this is Alexandria 2. Alexandria 2. Again, just filled with notes that I absolutely love and adore in fragrances. This has apple and cinnamon in the opening. Those are the 2 primary notes. As it starts to dry down, you get some sandalwood in here. You get some vanilla in this as well. It's just a beautiful scent, man. Again, I think about other fragrances that have like that apple cinnamon kind of vibe to it. You think about fragrances like Wajan from Parfums de Marly, Ombre Narguilé. And this is just a different take on that kind of DNA. It has the apple and the kind of cinnamon vibe that you get from those fragrances, but the dry down, man, with the sandalwood, I think a little bit of musk and vanilla in here as well. Gorgeous scent, one of the best from Givenchy. But I think if you, again, a person like myself that love those kind of sweet fragrances that have that kind of gourmand tendency to it, but this one doesn't go like a full gourmand, this is one that I think you would enjoy from the house of Givenchy. Again, this is Alexandria 2. All right, guys, now coming in at the 3rd spot on the list this year, this fragrance comes from the house of Parfums de Marly, and this is Pegasus Exclusive. Pegasus Exclusive. Now, I was a big fan of the original Pegasus. I love that almond and kind of almond vanilla heliotrope vibe that you got from the original, but they took that DNA to the next level with this scent. I love to wear the other one. Is good for the spring and you can wear it in the fall as well, but this is even better to wear in the fall season because they added some amber and some oud to the base of this fragrance, and they just took that DNA and in my opinion made it even better. Again, perfect fragrance to wear for the fall. That beautiful almond and heliotrope presence is still there. But again, just imagine a little bit of oud and amber. So it's a little bit warmer, a little bit deeper. And you get this right here from the House of Parfums de Marly. I absolutely adore this scent. And that's why I made the third spot. Again, this is Pegasus exclusive. All right, now coming in at the second spot on the list this year, to me, this is really another beautiful take on the note of sandalwood. And I know some people are gonna say that this should be a designer fragrance. I'm not arguing that point. Look, when you talk about any of the exclusive line from a lot of these fragrance houses, when I do lists, I include them on the niche side. But this one comes from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and this one is called Cabane. This one is called Cabane, and again, this is a beautiful kind of patchouli, sandalwood, tonka bean fragrance. It opens up really spicy pink pepper and black pepper. Has a little bit of osmanthus in this to give it even more of a creamy nature. You already get creaminess from the sandalwood, but that osmanthus kind of gives it even more of a creamy, kind of smooth overall vibe. And this scent profile is just absolutely amazing. I love this fragrance. Again, a lot of people talk about Tuxedo, which is a fragrance that I really enjoy as well, but I think for me personally, this gets a slight nod over Tuxedo for my personal taste. So check this one out from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. Again, this one is called Cabane. All right, and coming in at the #1 spot, can we just cue up some dramatic music, please? I don't even want to talk about this fragrance. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I love this fragrance so much. This is so good. So good. From the house of By Kilian, man. #1, Angel Share. This fragrance is so good. It's so good. Oh my goodness. Listen, if you've never tried Angel Share, please do yourself a favor and check it out. Please do yourself a favor and check that fragrance out. It has cinnamon. It has this beautiful woody oak note in here as well. Tonka bean. It's just a beautiful scent. Seriously, I love this fragrance so much. So much. This is definitely one of my top 5 fragrances in my whole collection. It's so good, man. It is so good. It is so good. Just check it out from the house of By Kilian. Again, that one is called Angel Share. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time, man. I hope you enjoyed my top 10 fall niche fragrances this year. What are some of the fragrances that you guys will be wearing this fall that falls on the niche side of things? I would love to hear what you thought about my list, as well as some of the fragrances that you will be wearing, niche fragrances that you'll be wearing this fall as well. Guys, don't forget, if you've seen anything that you like on this list today, again, they are all available at scentsplit.com. You don't have to spend an exorbitant amount of money on niche fragrances. You can just sample them at a place like scentsplit.com and still get an idea and feel for these fragrances, and also just be able to wear them and enjoy them without having to invest in a full bottle. As always, I appreciate your time and attention to these videos, because of course you could have been anywhere else in the world, man, but you're right here with me, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now don't forget to take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't mind, share these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information or find me entertaining. I don't know, because I'm your guy, Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell absolutely amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you this side. On the flip side. Peace.